It's Friday night at the Theory of Mind Club, and three famous icons are getting drunk together. They include Pinocchio, Faust, and the Marlboro Man. And the reason I pick these three icons is because I think they represent issues that psychology is having with the idea of the human condition these days. So what's Pinocchio's problem? Well, Pinocchio's got no strings to hold him down, and he believes that freedom has to do with not having constraints. The reason this is a problem for us in psychology right now is because we found out that free will doesn't cause our actions. And so we feel, oh no, we're not in charge. So we're in the state of believing that conscious will is an illusion.
One thing that struck me immediately in reading your writing and also just talking to you too or hearing you speak is storytelling. You like to tell stories in what you do. Now, as a fan of experiential learning and applied therapy, narratives and learning that way is something that stands out a lot to me. Where does that come from in your work? There's more stories than a lot of theorists would include.
Well, to be honest, I do write some what people would call fiction. And when you're writing, you don't really ask yourself why you're writing. You just write. And it's one of the few processes I engage in that just sort of sustains itself. Faust is getting drunk because his need to, of course, have his books and learning give him access to direct truth or absolute truth is something he figured out he can't get. And in Faust's worldview, and I argue even in our contemporary worldview, we have the concept of knowledge and the concept of living being two different things. And part of the view that I'm proposing is that living is knowing because living is meaning. Why I would talk about stories in my work as a cognitive scientist, as a philosopher, is because I believe we are stories through and through. One of the things I like to tell my students is, when you're walking down the stairs, talking to your friend, and you put your foot out because you believe the floor's there and it's not. There's yet another stair, and you start to fall. You get yourself, you stop yourself from falling. What I like to try to show them is that they were actually telling themselves a story unconsciously about what their foot was supposed to experience. And most of the stories we tell ourselves, or most of the predictions that our brains are continuously making, are well outside of our conscious awareness. We become consciously aware when they fail. And then the Marlboro Man. If you ask the Marlboro Man how he knows he's so independent, he'll tell you, because everybody tells me I am. And he won't get the contradiction. So it's the idea that what the self is this sort of lone cognizer, trapped in their own mind. So these are three issues I think psychology and cognitive science are dealing with right now. And the view that I'm going to put forward is a way to sort of deal with these things that I hope can make cognitive science's approach to these things more consistent with lived life.